Hi, I'm Steve Hoberman, founder of Technics Publications. We publish books on data, and we have currently over 150 titles on data-focused books, including the book that we're going to talk about today, Data Privacy Across Borders, Crafting Corporate Strategies by Lambert Hugenhout and Amanda Wang. Wang. Why do these book release celebrations? There's three reasons. The first is, well, it's about showing off a little bit. I am so proud of our collection of data books and in awe of our authors. Our authors have accomplished amazing things. And our two authors today, Lambert and Amanda, have done incredible things. Lambert and Amanda both work at the UN. Lambert actually is the Chief Data Analytics and Emerging Technologies Officer and was involved in setting up a lot of the data privacy policies at the UN. Amanda as well has a lot of experience, and together they wrote this book that fills a very important niche in our industry. And I'll keep you in suspense on that. We'll learn more about that in the session. Second purpose of these book release celebrations is to learn. We're going to learn some key messages about the book. And even more importantly, and something which is not documented or communicated anywhere before, the why. Like, why write this book? What needs, what niches does it fill? And the third important reason for these celebrations is, well, to celebrate. It's such an amazing accomplishment to write a book. Imagine collecting your thoughts, over 30, 40, 50, 60,000 words of thoughts, putting them down, making sure they convey messages clearly, concisely. A lot of work goes into that. So we're here to celebrate that as well. The facilitator for today's event is Marilu Lopez. I think that's also a great connection to today's session because Marilu not only has decades of experience in data management, but she recently wrote the book, Data Strategies for Data Governance. And so she has a lot of experience in the data strategy space. And global data privacy, which we'll talk about today, has a very important connection to data strategy. So really excited to present today's event. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Hello, greetings from Mexico City. I am Marilu Lopez, and I'm delighted to be here in this celebration. Thank you, Steve, for inviting me to facilitate this session. I'm very, very happy to do that because I still remember all the excitement when I released my book last year in August, and I'm sure this celebration is going to be felt as the same that I felt before. So this topic and data privacy across the boards resonates a lot in me when I read about this book, when I browsed the book, because some of you that know me know that I dedicate a lot of my time to an international organization as a volunteer. And I have been very sensitive to this data privacy across different nations. So this book, written in a very simple vocabulary, very simple way for us that are not legal people to understand, it's a great success. I want to welcome the authors of this new book, Lambert Ochenhout, who has over 20 years experience in data governance and analytics, and now applying AI, and that it's an advisor to the United Nations in all these deep technologies. And well, has a great experience on data privacy and on ethical handling of data. So welcome, Lambert, to this celebration.
Thank you, Mary Lou. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you. And your co-author, Amanda Wang, who also has 20 years experience on data governance, data management, and of course in data privacy. And I'm sure that's something that brought you together. And you're going to tell us this in a moment, but I want to welcome Amanda to this session, this great session.
Thank you so much, Marilu, and hello to everyone. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today.
Yeah, thank you. I see Charles Matz from joining us, and Costin Marcia, Patrick Van Ren. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name, but welcome, Patrick, with us here. And well, one thing that I always like when I go to a concert is to hear the stories behind the songs. Or when I visit a wine cellar, I love to hear the stories behind the wines that I'm tasting. So in this time, I would like to start this session knowing the story behind this book. What drove this book? Why did you write this book, and why at this moment? Why at this time? Who wants to get started telling us the story behind this book?
Thanks,
Amanda.
Marilu. Yeah, maybe I can start, and then Lambert can also share in his thoughts. So for me, if you look at the world today, data is everywhere. Users know that there is more data out there than ever before. And I think the importance of data cannot be understated. Business and individuals, they rely heavily on technology and data, and organizations continue to explore new ways to utilize data. And this often generates cross-border data flows. So for me, the ability to share data across borders has revolutionized the way we think about information, and it has opened up countless new opportunities for businesses. However, at the same time, the use of personal data is a growing concern, and more countries adopt data privacy laws, and it also raises expectations on how companies must respect an individual's privacy. For me personally, there's no room for compromise when it comes to safeguarding personal data. And the stakes for data privacy has never been higher. So another point I'd also like to make is that for companies, developing strategies that can be applied globally is becoming more increasingly crucial for them to achieve success and maintain their position in the marketplace. So by creating clear, comprehensive global strategies, they can be well prepared to navigate the complexities of the industry as well as achieve their outcomes. So this is why I think Lambert and I see the importance of crafting a data privacy strategy that aligns with business objectives. And at the same time, it ensures that the companies can comply with relevant data privacy laws. And I think this is the reason why Lambert and I decided to write the book. But over to you, Lambert, to give more your thoughts on this question.
Well, I think you summarized it really well. So on the one hand, companies are facing these increasingly complex compliance requirements globally. That's for sure. But then there's also this trend going on of people being more and more concerned about their own data. And companies are starting to realize that the only way to win the trust of their customers is if they're very transparent and clear about how they treat their data. So suddenly data privacy is no longer just about compliance, it's just good business. And I think one of the things we're trying to advocate for in the book is to move data privacy out of maybe the legal department or wherever it's at in some entity that just had to make sure we comply with the laws, and see it as a strategic issue. I think a clear and effective data privacy program can build customer trust and strengthen a brand's reputation. And that's another trend I'm seeing with visionary companies. They're already starting to use data privacy competitive differentiator as a, if you like, marketing strategy. Apple is one of these companies, and there's many big tech companies that all want to be seen as being trustworthy. So I think that's another very important trend. So it's the combination of these two trends. First of all, much more can be done with data and with personal data these days, and is being done. At the other hand, there's much more concern about the use of that personal data, that tension between those two trends. That was the main reason for us to write the book. Back to you, Marilu.
But and why now? I remember when did GDPR came out? It was in 2019 or 2018, something like that. And I remember I was working at a bank, and at that moment we saw that as a very far thing that was defined. But now it is something that has to be considered by all the organizations, because you don't know who your customers are related to other organizations, or they're doing things in other countries. So I found it very, very interesting to find in your book the comparison of different countries doing data privacy. What can readers expect to find in your book? Now that you were talking, Lambert, why don't you tell us a bit of what we can expect to find in this book?
Right. So we just talked about this tension between these different dynamics going on, and how do you deal with these challenges as an organization, as a company? Well, our book offers solutions for that, different methods of coming to a solution. We explain how you can create a data privacy strategy that aligns with your business objectives and your brand positioning, and also ensures compliance with relevant laws. Now, of course, in order to do that, we start out with the fundamental concepts of data privacy. I think it's very important that everybody understands those, what it is all about, what is the basis of this. Topics like purpose and consent, accountability, data minimization. So we dedicate a whole chapter on learning these things. And then we look at data privacy laws from all over the world, I think almost 10 different countries, not to become an expert on any of these laws, but to understand, to get a sense of the spirit of these laws. What are they trying to achieve? What's behind it? And what is the reason for sometimes very puzzling clauses in there? And why do they have all these nuances and these sort of culturally specific clauses in there? And I think that those two things are really foundational to understanding data privacy issues. and a prerequisite to developing a custom strategy. Amanda, do you have anything on that?
So just to add to also what Lambert mentioned, right? We talk about the concepts around data privacy. We also touch base on some of the governance instruments, like, for example, roles and responsibilities of people in the data privacy space. We also talk about the importance of having data privacy impact assessments, assessing your risks when it comes to data privacy and how to mitigate them. We talk about policies, procedures, all of these different processes. That's very important when you have to think about how do you do data privacy in your organization. And Lambert also mentioned a high level about some frameworks, methodologies. So one of them is privacy by design. This was a methodology that was developed by Dr. Anne Kavukian. And it really calls into account thinking about privacy at the very beginning of the whole engineering or systems development lifecycle process. And of course, we also talk about other concepts such as privacy enhancing technologies, like how do you actually apply privacy when it comes to technologies, what controls can you take or implement. And I think one interesting chapter there, of which this is Lambert's expertise, is also the AI area, right? The AI, the metaverse. So I mean, this book, I think, really describes all of this concepts, and I think this will really help an organization when they have to think about how to strategize for data privacy.
Thank you, Amanda. One thing that I found very interesting from my perspective when browsing your book is that you dedicate a whole chapter on how to describe the strategy for data privacy and then how to implement that. How do you see the data strategy for, the data strategy related to the data privacy strategy, and how do they complement each other and relate to each other?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Mary Lou, and it's a very big topic, and it is what makes creating a data privacy strategy quite complex. It's not something you do sitting alone in a room separate from everything else, because there's so much connection between the data privacy strategy and digital transformation, the data strategy, compliance issues, the IT strategy, risk management. They're all very much related. So you really have to, when you're creating a data privacy strategy, you have to talk to all these other entities, and often they have to be developed in conjunction. If I look at risk management, for instance, of course, data privacy strategy, a data privacy program addresses a number of risks: data breaches, unauthorized access, the cost of non-compliance as regulation increases everywhere in the world, the risk of reputational loss, the risk of trust of your customers, your partners. And then with the data strategy, obviously there is connection between the two. A data privacy strategy depends on the data strategy. What are you going to do with your data, right? But also vice versa. The data strategy needs to take data privacy into account when it is designed. So these two really have to be designed in tandem. And of course, data privacy strategy puts a lot of demands on the IT strategy, right? There's things that you must do or must not do from an IT point of view if you want to have a good data privacy program. But at the same time, IT can help with a lot of technologies to implement data privacy. And then, of course, other parts of business, for example, your brand strategy, that is something where data privacy can also play an important role for companies that see that are visionary. They can combine these two things and make data privacy part of their brand strategy. Being culturally sensitive should manifest itself in your corporate privacy posture, your privacy strategy, right?
That's what I call open strategy, because normally strategy comes from a very secrecy bill that covers it, and nowadays I say that the strategies, data strategy, data privacy strategy needs to be open, to be understood, to be related to other strategies within the organization to work together, and that's precisely what you are stating here. So that's very interesting. I would like to take a moment to encourage the audience, the people that are looking at watching this and hearing this in live time, in real time, to share their comments or questions that they may have for the authors. This is the time, so we can bring whatever question you have for the authors to respond. In the meantime, how do technological development affect data privacy? We see a lot of changes in the technology platforms, and the most obvious one right now is artificial intelligence tools. How do this impact this data privacy, and how do we have to react, and what can we get in the book around this topic?
So Marilu, maybe I can start off, and then Lambert can also give in his thoughts, especially in the AI area. So recent years, you're right, recent years have shown rapid progress in a number of technologies that are of great use to data privacy. So before we get into the AI side of things, I do want to highlight that there is these technologies which we call privacy enhancing technologies that are designed to safely process and share sensitive data. This goes back into what you said, our question earlier, where we said, how does data strategy and data privacy strategy relate? When you have a data strategy, you actually want to share data. But then if you have personal information, you want to make sure that when you share that data, that the personal information is well protected. And this is where the privacy enhancing technologies come in. And they have actually two categories. We have one that's called input privacy, that you're bringing data in and it focuses on how multiple parties can process it in a manner that's not used outside of the strict context. In other words, these are usually your encryption technologies. And we mentioned some of them in the book as well. You have the homomorphic encryption, multi-party computation. And I understand that maybe our audience is not technical, so I don't want to get into the technical jargon of things, but it is all, well described in the book. The second category of privacy enhancing technologies focuses more on what we call output privacy, which means that the output data that you're processing does not, or how do you say that, the sensitive data in that data output is protected, so it's not being identified or re-identified. And again, some of these techniques that we use for output privacy, such as differential privacy and some statistical disclosure controls, are also well defined as well in the book. And from there, maybe we can now jump into, I know, the exciting area of things, which is on AI, which is really Lambert's area. So Lambert.
Sure. Yeah. Well, you mentioned all kinds of technologies that actually help us become better at data privacy. But technology also brings with it new risks to privacy, and I think AI is an area which is moving so quickly, and we don't always have good insight in what we are doing with data, and that includes personal data, private data. And I think many of the AI technologies, even though we try to create responsible AI systems and explainable AI systems that give insight on where they get their information or their conclusions from, often they still end up being black boxes to some extent. Nowadays, of course, generative AI is the latest thing and incredibly popular. And again, it's gobbling up vast amount of data from everywhere, and people are adding more data in the prompts as they interrogate through a chatbot or so, ChatGPT or another tool. They interrogate the generative AI, and they may put in all kinds of things. I've heard examples of people trying to get some inspiration from generative AI to do performance reviews, and they put all the data of their employee in the chat box of the generative AI. Of course, that is an absolute no-no, but people start forgetting that because this is a new technology, and the dangerous thing is that it can do more and more with that personal data, and it's not always transparent. And as we move into the future, there's all kinds of other technologies, IoT, the internet connected devices like your Ring home door, your doorbell with camera, or your thermostat, or other things in your house. The metaverse, biotech, genetics, all these fields are rapidly developing. I actually spoke at the AI Summit last month on the topic of data privacy in the metaverse, which is an entire new area of its own, because of the very immersive nature, where things have much more impact than a pop-up screen on my laptop, or a button that comes up, or an advertisement that comes up. In a metaverse, things are not that easily recognizable as the difference between ads or malicious things or real content that you interact with. So all kinds of new dangers again, and new theories that we need, and new protocols and principles that we need. I think sometimes there is this idea that AI and robots and all these technologies are making humans obsolete. I think the opposite is also happening, that as technologies become more sophisticated, our data becomes increasingly valuable to these systems. So instead of decreasing the value of humans, it increases the value of humans, or at least our data. So that also means that data privacy will have to become increasingly important as we adopt all these systems.
Of course. Everything that you mentioned, and I was just thinking on the cameras we have outside the homes, and I'm recording who is passing across the street, but the house in front of mine is also recording my house. So what about all that information that we are collecting? So this is very, very relevant in our daily lives, not only within the organizations, but in our daily lives. What do you think is going to be the benefit for the organizations when reading this book, in terms of having successful initiatives on data initiatives in general? How does this work will support them on doing that?
Well, a couple of ways in which I think the book can be helpful. The first is, my biggest hope is that it helps companies change their mindset from data privacy being a compliance issue to it being a strategic opportunity. And if we achieve that, I would be very, very happy. But just at a practical level, it's also very concrete and practical, in that it helps you formulate a strategy step by step, and it helps you integrate your data privacy strategy with your data, IT, risk management, marketing strategy, and to navigate all these relationships.
That is something that I like a lot from your book, because my book is also a step-by-step way on defining that data strategy. So when I read, I think it's the 5th chapter that you have on that, I said, oh, well, we are very connected on that sense, that and that's what people need, very attainable method on doing things. And I think your book is offering that. Who should benefit from this book? Who should get this book, Amanda? Which roles in the organization should get this book, or who should buy this book to as a present for his or her boss in the organization? That's a good idea.
Well, so Marilu, I think for this book, we wrote this book for data privacy officers, chief data officers, chief information officers, legal officers, and I would say executives in the firm, data practitioners, maybe small business owners, application developers. So I think anyone dealing with data or with technology, I think they should buy this book. Of course, as we said, we do touch base on some of the basic concepts. So even if they're new on data privacy, I think this book will also give them an idea of what to think about when they're thinking about how to create the strategy for their organization. And as you know, Marilu, the book can be purchased on the Technics portal site. It's also available in Amazon, and as I understand, in other sites as well. And we really encourage people to buy the book because it will help guide you and your organization towards the best practices and in creating the data privacy strategy for your organization.
A friend of mine, and you know him, Tom Redman, talks about regular people, those people in the organizations that do not have the data in their job names. And I believe this book is for all regular people in the organization. It's written in such a clear way and normal language that everyone could benefit from understanding this. And not only for the organization, but for our own protection of our data, our personal data. And that's very relevant. We need to be aware of that and to take actions on that. And so I believe this book is very, very good contribution to our community. So thank you very much, Lambert, Amanda, for working together on putting this, making this a reality. Congratulations, because this is a moment to celebrate. So we just need something to say cheers, and good for this work, and for all of the people watching this. Make sure to get your book. I don't see any comment, but I'm sure if you leave your comment in the platform that you're watching this, either Lambert or Amanda can reply later on and with anything that you may share with them. So thank you for this, and again, congratulations.
Thanks a lot for hosting us, Marilu. It was
Thank you so much.
a lot of fun. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.